Every time they left the house, they had to tie a rope around themselves and remind each other never to let go, because if they did, something strange was bound to happen. Once they were all set, they would head into the woods from 3 different directions. In this post-apocalyptic world, splitting up was the only way for them to find more food, and the rope kept them safe from danger. But on this particular day, Nolan, the younger brother, spotted a bird's egg on the ground while he was out looking for food. Just as he was about to grab it, he realized the rope wasn't long enough. No matter how hard he pulled, it wouldn't budge. Frustrated, he considered untying the rope. That's when his older brother, Sam, caught sight of him and rushed over to stop him. He warned Nolan that untying the rope would attract the creatures lurking in the woods. He even pulled out a whistle, ready to alert their mom. Nolan, although annoyed, reluctantly backed down. On their way back, he was still fuming. In a petty act, he stepped on Sam's rope. To his shock, that small gesture caused more trouble than he imagined. The rope slipped off Sam, and he tumbled down a hill, twisting his ankle in the process. Panicking, Nolan blew his whistle, and their mother, who wasn't far, immediately started running toward them. Despite her best efforts, she was too late. The eerie noises from the woods were already getting louder. In a desperate move, Nolan untied his own rope to help his brother. Their mother saw this and shouted for them to tie the rope back on, but before she could react, the creature was closing in on her kids. Ignoring the danger, she cut off her own rope and sprinted toward them. Just before the monster could strike, she managed to tie the rope around all 3 of them, narrowly escaping disaster. The creature simply watched them without attacking, as if the rope was keeping it at bay. Strangely, Nolan didn't see any sign of the creature himself, but seeing the fear on his mother and brother's faces, he clung tightly to her anyway. Back at the house, their mother scolded them, forcing them to kneel on the floor and pray over the symbols drawn there, asking the creatures to stay away. As punishment, she locked Nolan in the cellar to make sure he learned his lesson. From that day on, she stationed herself outside every day, ensuring that the monsters never got close to the house again. To protect her children, she also made a new rule: no one was allowed outside anymore. They had to stay in the house at all times. She warned them that the creatures could take on any form to lure people into their traps, so they were never to let go of the rope. One night, Nolan asked a question that had been on his mind: if they let go of the rope, why hadn't they seen anything dangerous? There wasn't a single sign of a monster. Sam explained that they were just lucky they hadn't been caught yet, and that their mother wouldn't lie to them. Days turned into weeks, and at first, hunger wasn't an issue. They had plenty of stored food, but as time went on, their supplies dwindled until all that was left was a single orange. With no other choice, their mother ventured out to hunt. She saw a crow in the woods and took aim, but then noticed it was picking at the body of a small boy. Horrified, she looked again, only to find the boy had vanished. Convinced it was her imagination, she tried to shoot again. But since she still had the rope tied to her, the creature left her alone. Shaken, she returned home with nothing but tree bark, which she prepared as food for her sons. But the tough, tasteless bark wasn't exactly appetizing. The next day, she watched her sons playing with their dog near the door and came to a decision. She told them she was going to kill the dog for its meat since they had nothing left to eat. They couldn't survive on tree bark alone. Nolan, the younger son, was devastated. The dog was his best friend. He argued that they were safe here, that there were no monsters, and that even if he untied the rope, nothing would happen. He thought their mother was wrong. His words hit a nerve. Their mother turned to Sam and asked him to vote on whether or not they should kill the dog. Sam, who trusted their mother without question, sided with her.
I hate you! I hate both of you! I hate this house! I hate this house!
Despite Nolan's protests, their mother was determined to go through with her plan. She snatched the dog from his arms and dragged it toward the shed to kill it. Just as she was about to pull the trigger, Nolan stepped forward. He threatened that if she killed the dog, he would cut the rope. Their mother thought he was bluffing, but to her surprise, he really did it. He severed the rope and locked himself in the shed. Their mother banged on the glass, begging Nolan to tie the rope back. Sam rushed over to stop him. While the 2 brothers fought, a creature appeared in the shed. Without the rope, their mother was defenseless. As the monster approached, she picked up a shard of glass and slashed her own throat. Seeing their mother collapse, the brothers stopped fighting. They rushed to open the door, but it was too late. She was already gone. Shaken, Nolan tied the rope back around himself, vowing never to defy their mother's rules again. After their mother's death, the 2 boys lived alone in the cabin. One day, a stranger showed up outside. He was well dressed, looking completely out of place. This terrified Nolan because their mother had told them they were the last 3 people alive, and anyone else they met could be a creature in disguise. When the man tried to talk to him, Nolan didn't say a word. Just then, Sam emerged with his crossbow ready.